Okay, well, welcome to our call tonight. We're so excited to do our convention recap. For those of us that were there, we just want to kind of touch back in and share our greatest takeaways. And those of you that didn't get to go, we want to make sure you kind of get a lowdown on what was shared with us. So I'm going to go through just some things that we've already posted in our team page, but just some highlights that different announcements corporate released, different products that came out. And then we'll each just take turns sharing some of our greatest takeaways. But the one thing I want to say is, and I think we would all agree, this convention was absolutely amazing. I know a lot of us on here, it was their very first convention, but this really was like a convention like no other. I think the energy was totally different than it's been any other year past. Just the sheer size. I mean, they said several times during convention that 5 years ago was the very first Plexus convention, and there were 248 ambassadors at that convention. And this year, 5 short years later, we had 12,500, ambassadors register. And one thing that's crazy is they actually have to book the sites for convention like 2 years in advance. So this was kind of their projection for, okay, this is where we're going to have it. They had to cap it, but really we could have easily had 15,000 ambassadors there. I mean, we had that huge waiting list and people that wanted in that couldn't get in at the last minute. So it is such an exciting time. I think too, like seeing, this was the first time they had a May Ambassador breakout session, and that kind of just the energy from that. It was at 7 a.m. on Wednesday morning, and it was standing room only. I mean, they had a packed house. They weren't even expecting that good of a turnout. So I think just seeing all these changes that are starting to happen, and how men are starting to get involved more, just the energy. I mean, I cannot even imagine what next year is going to be like. So really just the size is what blew me away, and how far it's come just in the last 3 years since I attended my very first one. So pretty crazy. So the biggest things were our new products that got released, which are awesome. One product, the block, it was actually just reformulated. So some really cool changes on it. It's now a fast acting capsule. So instead of having to take it, 30 minutes before a meal, you can actually take this with your food. So that was definitely the biggest complaint we would get from customers, is they just couldn't remember to take the product. So, huge change there. If you have customers who were on it before, definitely revisit them. Let them know we've made some changes to it. And I think we're going to see a lot more success with it, for one, because it's the fast acting. But then the other changes they made, they actually rebalanced the ratio of that white kidney bean extract. There's a little bit less of that extract in it now. And so this is going to be great, because a lot of people were experiencing bloating with this product. So that's going to help decrease a lot of that bloating. So if you're someone who did bloat with it, try it again, revisit that with your customers, because they may not get that same reaction to it, because that extract is just a little bit less. And then they also added chromium to it. So the chromium that is in the block, actually, BB shared this with us last night on her call. It's the same chromium. There's several different versions of chromium, and this specific one is the same one that's in the Accelerator Plus, but it's different than the one that's in the Slim. So if you have a customer, or if you yourself take the Accelerator Plus and you're going to add in block, or you also take block, just be aware of that now, that those Accelerator and the chromium, they have the same, the Accelerator and the block have the same chromium in it. So if you take both of those capsules on the same day, it's going to put you over your daily intake that you need for that specific type of chromium. If it's just the block and the Slim, you don't really need to worry about that, but that's something that you just pay attention to that. This type of chromium, it takes your system longer to process, so it sticks with you longer. And so BB just pointed out that it may be that people no longer need the Accelerator if they're also going to be on the block. So just kind of be mindful of that as you're guiding your customers. And also remember that when on the bottle, it says it blocks up to 48% of carbs and sugars from being converted into glucose in the blood. That 48% is only happening if someone's intaking 2 capsules. So just be mindful of that some people like to break those, don't take 2 at one time, they take 1. So just kind of make sure they know they're not getting that full 48% percentage there on that. So super excited about the block. The brand new product is our energy product. It's our only product that is specifically targeted for energy. It's called Edge. It's amazing. We were just chatting about this before we started. I haven't researched all the ingredients yet, but there's 3 very simple ingredients. It's got a pure coffee, Café Robusta, a very natural caffeine, and theacrine and L-theanine. And these amino acids really allow the brain to bind perfectly with the caffeine. And so you're going to get that really smooth, clean energy. And you're not going to get a buildup intolerance like people typically do with, coffee, espresso, that type of a thing. So this is a great way to get that energy. And again, we know now, what they were talking about at convention was that fatigue is the #1 health complaint. So this is a product that is going to be good for pretty much everybody. It's going to be something to consider and to mention. And I think it's the L-theanine that it combats the jitters. So this is going to be one of those products. I mean, if you're highly sensitive to caffeine, you definitely want to take it with food. But a lot of people who are sensitive are saying it's not giving them the jitters. It didn't give me the jitters. I'm not really sensitive to caffeine, but I get the jitters with Boost or Accelerator, and I don't with the Edge. So energy, improved ability to focus, to stay on task, elevating your mood. I mean, all of these things. I've been on it like 5 days, and I just love it. And I've played with taking it at different times of the day, and it doesn't keep me up at night, because I was kind of wondering if someone took it in the afternoon, would it keep them up? And I haven't had that experience. So it's awesome. Definitely take the time to, look into those ingredients and research those ingredients. So those were the 2 main products. And then a few more things that I want to go over. One of the really cool incentives that they released was this thing called the Consistency Club. And this is a really cool company-wide program that they're going to start. They have started already. It runs from June 1st to March 31st. So this is kind of an incentive that is building us up to next year's convention, basically. And this is really the point of it is to help you and your team and your ambassadors build a really well-rounded business. And it focuses on 3 areas. And those 3 areas are building your PV, maintaining your customer base, your current customers, and then adding current customers. And so they really want us to focus on those 3 areas every month. And there's 2 different consistency clubs. There's the 300 club and the 500 club. And they each have 3 different criteria. They are a little bit different. The 300 club, and I've posted, there's a graphic in our team page for this too, if you don't get this all written down. But the 300 club, basically, to be entered and to be placed in that club, you need to do $300 in PV for the month. You need to maintain 3 customers. So that would be 3 customers, who ordered the month before, they stay on board with you in the current month, and then add 1 new customer in that current month. And if you do that, you're going to be, first time, you'll be in the 300 consistency club. The 500 club is hit 500 PV by month's end, maintain 5 customers in the current month. So 5 old customers stick with you for the current month, and then add 3. So that one is just kind of bumped up. The criteria is just a little bit higher for all of those. But what's really cool about this, like I said, is it is going to help you just stay more mindful of building that well-rounded business. It's going to be great for our pay point, because it's going to really encourage every ambassador to not just hit their 100 PV, but to aim for at least 300. And the more PV we each of us do, it goes into that formula, and at the end of the month, that pay point is going to be higher. And that's where the big bucks come in. So this is going to be really, really great for that. And also, it really does serve as a guideline for when you bring in new ambassadors, or you're training the ones that you've got. This is just another way that you can train them. Like, hey, here's the way that you can build your business. Focus on your PV, focus on keeping your customers happy, and bringing in new customers. And I love that it's customer focused. It's not focused necessarily on bringing in team members. I mean, we know happy customers a lot of times will flip into an ambassador. So that in a sense, it is helping us build our team. But I love that the focus is about taking care of our customers and giving really great customer care so that they stick with us from month to month. I think she said in July there's going to be a new dashboard in our back office under reports. That's going to be a great way to track this. And I'm so excited because it's also one of the features. They showed it to us really quickly at convention. it allows you to see which customers have placed orders that month. So it's going to be a little bit easier to track that versus the way we have right now. So it's really cool. She showed us a picture of it, and I'm really excited for that to roll out. And she said that would be available in July. So set this as a goal for yourself. Like I said, it's backdated to June 1st. It's going to run through the end of March. If you hit in a consistency club 8 out of those 10 months, you're going to get some prizes. And one of the prizes is they're going to have some standing recognition at convention next year. So that'll be really cool. Everyone that's in the clubs will get recognized. If you maintain in the 300 club for 8 out of the 10 months, you're going to get a really nice portfolio, leather portfolio to display like your certificates and all your awards for Plexus. And if you maintain in the 500 club, you'll get a rustic cuff bracelet that's been branded with the Consistency Club. It's really cute. They also have a really neat leather braided one for guys. But anyway, and then they're also going to be sending you graphics. Like your first month that you make it in one of the clubs, they're going to be sending you a really cool graphic that you can post on Facebook, kind of just bragging about yourself that you made it into the club for the first time. So really, really exciting thing for that. So I love the Consistency Club. The third thing, and I'm going to pull up my back office to show you guys, is the shareables, the new videos that they have for us and the way that they've set this up. First of all, they have stepped up their videos. They introduced all of their marketing team, all these like awesome guys that were, down to like they create the music for these videos and just incredible. And so they have now, let me screen share this. So I'll show you guys where you can find it. In your back office, when you log in under tools, there's now this shareables drop down. And when you click on it, it's going to take you to this menu here. And right now, the only product videos they've got are Block and Edge, but they are going to be adding more. But if you click on, and so there's going to be brochures. There's brochures, images, there's different downloads. I'm going to click on videos and show you guys how easy this is to share. So, okay, there we go. So this is the new Block video, which is awesome to share with potentials. And what's so easy about this is you can directly share. You can email it. You can put it up on Pinterest. You can put it on Twitter, or you can share directly to Facebook. So if it's going to let me, it's not letting me, but if I click on, there we go. Well, if I click on Facebook, usually what happens is you can share it on your wall, or you can click and share it in a personal message. So I've done this several times. I've sent it personally to somebody, and the link takes them directly to my website. So you want to make sure when you do this, if you see someone that's done this on Facebook, don't just share, copy, paste their link. Go to your back office and do it this way, so that you don't end up, sending your potential to somebody else's website. Oh, there we go. I guess I just didn't scroll down far enough. So you can share on your timeline, or if you click that right there, you can come down, you can share it on a friend's timeline or in a private message. And that's what I've been doing. Type the person's name, type the message, and send it. The other thing I want to show you guys, if you scroll all the way down, so there's all these other really cool graphics. But down here, this is one of my favorite things. This is the I Am Plexus video series, and I hope that they're going to be adding more. They showcased, I think, 3 of these and had the people come out on stage. And these are just everyday people who are taking Plexus products, work in the Plexus business. These are not all diamonds. These are people of all different ranks, and they share their story. And it's, again, really quality. Look how short they are, 2.5 minutes. Anybody can see that and click on that and watch it. I want you guys, make sure you're watching these. These are really powerful to send to potentials. In fact, this Francisco, I sent his today because I have a girl who, he is like total workout guy, super buff, and he talks about how it's really stepped up his workout. And I've been trying to get her on board for that specific reason, and I have never been able to find a really good testimony. I've seen her before and afters, but something so much more powerful about the video when you get to hear their voice, hear them, what they have to say, and see, clips of their life. And so these are just really, they're really, really cool. So I encourage you guys to check those out. And the same thing, you can send those directly via your own personal link there. So check out your shareables and get familiar with those videos and all of that. And then just a few other things. One of the things that's going to be coming soon, they are going to have specific rank trainings that are going to be available on our dashboard. And this is going to be training specifically geared toward each specific rank. So if you're a silver ambassador and you're trying to get to gold, you will be able to access specific things that they are going to say, do this, and this will help you propel yourself to gold. If you're senior gold and you want to go ruby, same thing. So it's going to be targeted by rank, and that is super, super cool. The success on demand, the free, they're allowing us to access all of this awesome information for free. And this is all about our personal growth, our personal development as leaders, and just, you know, as individuals. So they're really, Plexus is really taking the time to invest in us as individuals. And, you know, they always talk about just being the best you. And so this is really their way. They really mean that. You know, they could charge us for this. It's going to be awesome. Like, there's going to be monthly book clubs. We're going to have free access to, you know, audiobooks. We can make audio playlists. There's going to be, I mean, they showed us kind of a screenshot of all the different topics of things that you can listen to and the videos you can watch. So it's going to be awesome. And then the overnight shipping, which I'm so pumped about. I didn't write down a date. I don't know if they said when that was coming, but they've already released the customer service customer line. So now customers can dial 1, ambassadors can dial 2, and there's a specific customer service team who's been trained to help customers, and they're going to get priority every time over ambassadors. So this is just kind of, they know, you know, the frustrations that we've had and how difficult it's been to keep our customers happy. And so they are really, their focus has always been on customer care. And this is just another way that they're stepping that up for us. So make sure, not to say that you still can't call in for your customers, but this is going to make it really easy for them. You don't have to be afraid of them saying, I'm just going to call into customer service. You know, feel confident in knowing that they're going to get through really quickly and they're going to have to, you know, have a crazy, crazy wait time. So, that kind of in a nutshell is a lot of just the major things coming down the pipe for us, a lot of the major announcements. I kind of want to transition into some of our takeaways. I will share briefly what, I had a ton of takeaways. I've like slowly working through my notebook, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have all these little one-liners that could really be a whole, you know, training call, honestly. But one of the greatest takeaways I had, on Wednesday, they had breakout sessions geared toward different ranks. And so in the Ruby, Senior Ruby one, we had some amazing speakers, but Kristen Abart was one of them. And she had a lot of really awesome things to say. And one, she kind of told a story about how she got started. And those of you that don't know Kristen Abart, she's a diamond. Her husband is also a diamond. They're super crunchy people. You know, she self-proclaims that she's a very intimidating person, very well educated. And so, you know, she said she had heard about Plexus for, gosh, you know, at least a year before she actually joined, and had a lot of really close friends at church who did Plexus and kind of sort of mentioned it to her, kind of danced around it, skirted around the edges. And then they had a friend, a friend of theirs, of her and Jarrett's, came into town, Lori Welsh and her husband. And Lori is now a diamond ambassador, but they basically called up Jarrett. The husband called Jarrett and said, we want to come over and we have something we want to talk to you guys about. So they set up a meeting, you know, and came over, and she said very directly and boldly and confidently, Lori just like went in for the kill. You know, she was like, you would be amazing at this. These products are amazing. They're changing people's lives. Research this. I want you on my team. You would kill it. You know, you'd be a rock star and you're going to make a ton of money at this. And she said, you know, it really got my attention, because for her to be that bold, you know, and again, she said, I'm pretty intimidating. I'm kind of judgy. You know, I kind of am one of those people who it's kind of scary to approach me, but she didn't let that stop her. Her belief was bigger, and she was willing to be bold and to kind of, you know, step it up and just, you know, go in for the kill with me. And so that was one of her takeaways was, you know, now look at Kristen. I mean, she is a diamond. She has, gosh, at least 2 diamonds under her. I don't know, but she is a person of really great influence. And so I just kind of walked away with that thinking, you know, I do share somewhat boldly, but there are people who I have yet to be just out there with and really bold. And, you know, staying silent about what we have is really we have to get to a place where that is just not an option for us, where we are willing to be bold no matter what anybody else is going to think. or say or do. We have to know that it takes boldness. And there is not a jewel in this company who is not bold. They did not get to become a jewel without being bold, So I did, I came back and I've just sent some really bold messages and broke out in hives. I messaged a few of you. I'm like, I can't believe I just did this. And I didn't die. And actually it ended up being, now whether or not that person will ever, join, I don't know, but I was bold, and we had a conversation and we are still friends and I didn't offend her. It kind of led to some other just really good conversations. So see the people. One thing Kristen said was when you start, and if you've been doing it a while, that's okay. But she said the two things that Lori told her were get people on these products. That's the first thing you got to do. Get people on these products and talk to your influencers first. Anybody who has big influence, go after them first. Because if you don't, somebody else is going to. And start to see your people of influence as doors. Okay. They are doors for you. And because a lot of times people will say, I just don't know that many people. Like I'm never going to be an emerald or a sapphire or a diamond or a senior ruby or whatever. But it's not about who you know necessarily. It's about who they know. So if you say, if I said to myself, oh my gosh, Kaylani, she is an influencer. I want her on my team. She is my door. If I open her door, I have access to all of her network. So think of your influencers as doors, as windows, and they're going to open up that way for you to access all these other people. And that's how you can build a really, huge and solid team. So I'll stop there. I had another takeaway, but I might share it at the end. But I want to kind of throw it out there, and whoever wants to just unmute yourself, please share any little nugget that you took away that you want to apply or that just really, stood out to you.
I'll go first. So I was there were a lot of things, y'all, that just kind of stood out to me, and that I came home and I'm like Ashley, I'm still kind of processing and going through my notes and kind of decompressing with everything. But I was in the silver breakout session there were some fantastic trainers. And there was so much, you want to be there next year. You really do. Because there's just the wealth of information and knowledge of these people that are pouring into you is just fantastic. One of the things, Sheila Medina was one of the trainers that spoke at the silver session. And I think there was a weight lifted in that room that you could feel. There were over 7,500 ambassadors and silvers in the arena, which was more than they had total, I think, 2 years ago at convention, I think is what you said. I have it somewhere in my notes. So there are more silver ambassadors and silver ambassadors in that room than they've had at convention a couple years ago. But they did a great job of just lifting this weight and taking the pressure off when they talked about specifically sharing the opportunity. So I think a lot of times we get so wrapped up in, this has to be a perfect presentation. I have to get the wording just right. What if I mess up? Insert whatever, what if you want. And Sheila Medina, she was great. She broke it down and she said, this is step by step. This is what you need to do. She said, but do you want to know the 4-minute version of that? That's going to get you through no matter what? She said, take your opportunity brochure, this little thing that comes in your welcome kit. And she said, all you do is you open it up and you read and you flip and you read and you flip. And she said, because what you're teaching them by doing that, by putting something in front of them and reading it and then turning the page, is you're showing them that they don't have to know everything, because you don't know everything. You're successful and you're doing this business, but you don't know everything either. And so that's a pressure taken off of your potential and a pressure taken off of you as well, that you don't have to have the knowledge. You don't have to do everything. Do not overcomplicate it. You are given some amazing tools for $34.95. So that was probably one of the biggest ones. I think that I put a lot of pressure on myself, and it kind of lifted to where I can be bold and take it or leave it, like me or not. I'm the same person, that, kind of this is what I got kind of thing. But But the other thing that excites me personally, because I come from a marketing background, that's what my degree is in, is all of these shareables. You guys, if you're not using this, you need to use them. They had new brochures. Let me see that. Yeah, the new Edge brochure. Everything is like clean, streamlined, so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
They have this for Edge. This is a PDF that you can share. I have emailed this PDF to so many people. They have it for Block too. It's nice and pretty. It just makes my heart so happy.
They really are pretty.
They are. They're so pretty. They're so well done and well made. The paper that they're on is that sturdy, like cardstock paper, but it's like nicely printed stuff. And they're giving us these are in your back office, and you can share them for free. $34.95, the business opportunity, the stuff that you're getting to start your business, the graphics, the shareables, the videos, the resources, everything. I mean, Success on Demand. I was blown away by everything that we're getting.
Yeah.
More products are coming with this, and I can't wait to see. I mean, no more like creating your own documents and sending them to people and like trying to insert little graphics of the products.
Yeah.
It's all going to be streamlined. It's all going to look pretty professional.
Yeah, I know. One of the things they kept saying was, and I loved it, that they want us to be the messenger and not the message. And I think that's what, in the beginning, when you're creating all that stuff, you become part of that message. And so they really want to just take the pressure off. Like, we've got the message. All you have to do is be the messenger. Just give it, share it. So I love that. And just, yeah, like you said, even the fact that, most companies, like you have to buy, and we can buy the brochures, but they're giving us the PDF, like they're giving us the digital brochure that we can just send straight to people. So amazing. Yes. Good takeaways. I love that.
Yes. So, and for those of you that, if you're watching this video later, I shared my notes down on our team page feed on Journey to Jewels. If you want to look through those, I try to clean them up the best I could, but if you've got questions, just hit me up.
Good. Thank you, Stacy. Who wants to share next?
I'll share next because I kind of want to piggyback off of what she said.
Okay.
I thought when Sheila was going through and they were going through a lot of the things that we have in the Success Kit, it really helped me understand like better ways that I can use it. And I would say my biggest takeaway, which we all had so many, so it's hard to really put into words what the biggest takeaway was. But for me, I realized, especially when we heard Brenda Martin get up and talk, I had always kind of had an excuse like, oh, I'm super tired, I'm busy, I teach full time. By the time I get home, I'm a mom to my kid and, trying to be a wife and do all those motherly and wifely duties and all that. And I realized that I wasn't carving out the IPA time that I needed to have every single day, except for like one rest day. And so hearing her get up on stage was really enlightening for me, talking about how, it kind of made me think, saying that you're busy is not an excuse. Mm-hmm. Like you can always find time to carve out some time for your IPA, because with Brenda and her husband both being diamonds and they have 11 kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no excuse for me to say I'm too busy.
Yeah.
So that was probably my biggest takeaway. And so ever since I got home, I took like the first 2 days at home to just kind of digest everything that I learned and everything I heard. And then I got right back on, right on my IPA time. So when Abigail takes a nap, I'm like, okay, especially with summer, with me not teaching right now, when Abigail takes her nap, I take my Edge. I took my Edge this morning, and I have been ready to roll all day long. So I put her down at like 2 o'clock, and I spent a good hour and a half contacting people, called my best friend that I've been trying to get on board, who really needs this business. She's a single mom and really needs this business opportunity. So I just had to kind of carve that time out. So I'm like, either when she's taking a nap, if I take my Edge that day and I don't need a nap when she takes a nap, or after she goes to bed. That's going to be my IPA time, and I'm going to make sure I do it every day except for my Sundays that I'm giving myself time.
Yeah, that's good, because it's one of those, that we make time for the things that are a priority. And I think sometimes when we have more of a system that we know, like, this is what I'm going to sit down and do, you can knock that out in sometimes 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So that's awesome.
Right.
Good for you. I'm glad to hear that, Amanda. Awesome.
I can go next.
Okay.
I'm probably going to be just repeating things everybody else has said, but one thing that I wanted to say was, like, if you haven't been to a corporate event, just being part of, like, feeling their culture and the things that they say, like, I can't tell you how many times they said that when they go to make a decision, if it's not good for the company and good for the ambassadors, they're not going to do it. And, if it's good for the ambassadors, it's not good for the company, they're not doing it. But also, if it's great for the company, but it's not good for the ambassadors, they won't move forward with something. So they really care about us. And it just seems so evident. Like, we turn to each other so many times with all the presentations on the Success Kit and like the Consistency Club and all these new graphics and the training. What is that called? That they're the Success on Demand that they're giving us.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
We kept turning to each other and we're like, what else can they possibly
I know.
with? Like, they've thought of everything. They're like handing the business to us on a silver platter. Like, everything you could possibly need. Like, all you have to do is go tell people about it.
Yeah.
So, it was just really impressive that they've put so much work into every little thing. And things that maybe if you've been doing this for a little while might have been frustrating, like making your own little Word documents about every little product and stuff. Like, it's all done. And it's when you're bringing new people on board now, like, it's all there for them. So that was really exciting. The other thing was the Success Guide. Was they did in the Senior Gold breakout, they did a training on, like, kind of like onboarding new ambassadors on your team using the Success Kit. And I mean, I've thought it was cool, and it has great, the thank you cards and the product cards, and that's great. But, like, I've never really dug through and looked through every page of the Success Kit, and, like, everything someone could need to start their business is in there. And I have some notes that I'm going to post on our team page tonight that I typed up. So but it's just, I mean, they're just making it really easy for us. So it was impressive.
Yeah, those Success Guides, I mean, just the expense and all that they put, I mean, it's such a nice quality box of training materials. It's really a shame to not use it, because it's everything that you need to know. Even if you train straight from it, you'll hit on everything. I mean, it's
and it's award-winning. I didn't realize that. Yeah. And they said that at convention that it's an award-winning Success Kit.
You're right. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Good. Thanks. Yeah, and thanks for typing up the notes on that too, Christine. Appreciate it. Kaylani or Mary, do you guys want to share a little nugget that you walked away with?
I'll go.
Okay.
So I haven't actually had a lot of time to think about this since I got home, because my company just left today. And so when I came back, I had a grandchild waiting for me, and a little bit wrapped up in that. But one thing was at the Senior Gold breakout, I don't know who it was that went through the acronyms of SMART. That was that our goals should be specific, be measurable, be attainable, realistic, and time-bound, that have a specific date. And that spoke to me so much, because I consider myself somewhat of a control freak, but then when I look back on my business, I see that often I have been flying by the seat of my pants, which is something I say I never do. But so that really, to me, is like, has really helped me. And I've already stepped up my game today. I was telling Christy, I've already got a list of people that are my really, really go after potential ambassadors and customers. And just really being aggressive and reaching out, not aggressive, but assertive and reaching out to them and establishing those. Like we went to happy hour last night, and there was a gal in the restroom who was her first night at this restaurant working, and she's a single mom, and she's in insurance, and I know her through someone else, and I went on her Facebook wall, and she's got 2,400 and some friends, and it's like, oh my gosh, you would be so good at this business. So I reached out to her. She'd never heard of Plexus, and so that's it's just the mindset of being proactive rather than reactive. So that's kind of where I am.
I love that. That's so good, Mary. The goals, the time-bound goals, that's so important too, because like all of us, whatever rank we're working for, it's like, I want to be this, I want to be that, but it's like, okay, well, let's get some time-boundness to that. If you want to be that by this, what do you need to do today to get to the, to be a little bit closer there at the end of the month or whatever. So that's good.
And Lauren's video was excellent too for getting to Leaders Retreat. I thought that was really, really excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Good takeaways, Mama Mary. All right, Kaylani.
All right. So, I mean, like everyone has said, like, I think the silver to gold, senior gold was pretty like seamless together. Like when we shared, a lot of the stuff was kind of the same, but just a different perspective. But the biggest thing was when we talked about time management, and I thought about how am I actually training my level ones for time management? And I reflected on that because I haven't really sat down with them and showed them how I do my IPA. Like I've told them, I've told them 5, 3, 1, but what does that really mean to someone who, one, is new, kind of scared? They don't really know. They're going to sit there and nod their head and say, yes, I'm going to do this. But to actually sit down and do that with them side by side, and if you have the time for it, like now I do have time because it's summer, to do that. And that's one of my goals, is to actually share that with them so they feel it, they see what it looks like, to where I'm not just kind of sending that message. And so Rhonda Shaw was awesome. She was just, just natural. Like Lauren, I think, said how she spoke from the heart. She was amazing. I loved listening to her speak. And she and I think Jen, they did like a little 4-square, and they talked about things that are important and urgent, things that are important and not urgent, and then things that are not urgent and then not important and not urgent. But the biggest thing in that 4-square, and if I was crafty like y'all, I'd probably have a little thing written out, but I'm not y'all, and I love y'all, but you guys are. But the biggest thing is that that they said the first quadrant was like important and urgent, and it was like things to do first. And as our team grows, is that we have to be so attentive to the questions and the struggles that our level ones are having, and just making sure that we're there for them. We make that time. And then the next quadrant, as far as working your business, is planning and scheduling without distraction. And I think Rhonda Shaw was the one who talked about multitasking is a myth. And she talked about how, she prides herself on being a great multitasker, because it's like almost as like women and as mothers, we wear like a badge of honor. Like I can knock out 10 things during the day, but really, where was our focus and where was our intention? And the example that she gave was even when, like she's doing like a training call or something, or she might be trying to talk to someone else, and her kiddos are in the background, or maybe, husband or spouse is in the background saying something. And it's like, are we truly giving our time, or are we just pulled in a million different directions? And one of my mentors told me one thing, that, we can all be great, but we can't be great at everything. So we have to be able to zone in our time and be intentional. And one thing that I wrote down was, everyone's only getting a portion of who we are sometimes. And that we can fix that by blocking our time in scheduling that in so they get the actual best of us. So they get the best message about the products or the business without outside distractions. And I think sometimes just as, like I said, just as women and wives and mothers, we feel like we can do it all and we should be able to, when it's okay just to say, this is the time that I have now, and that's what I'm going to focus on. So that was really big to me. Of course, IPA and personal growth, I thought that was huge. Just in the personal growth aspect of this company just kind of blew me away, that they're willing to let us see that personal growth is what's going to drive our business, which comes from relationships. So one of the biggest things that I've been doing just since I've been home is just reaching out to people, not even talking about Plexus, but just talking about what's going on in their life and just trying to truly, genuinely build that relationship again that I once had. And I've allowed like time and distraction to get in the way, but I truly do care what's going on in their life. And so if that means that I don't bring up Plexus for 2 or 3 more conversations, I'm gonna trust that that's okay, because I'm truly caring about them, and versus just looking out kind of like I just want to tell them about Plexus. So that was one thing too, that I thought was huge. And one of the biggest things, and I loved how Jen was just so upfront about it, is just where we're just wasting our time. Like, it's not producing us anything. A video is funny. We get caught up in YouTube. We get caught up in Facebook. But we have to remember that we have a business. And if we were business owners, we wouldn't be sitting back behind a counter doing nothing but looking at the computer all day. So I guess, convention was awesome for me. I loved meeting all of you guys, and just realizing, like, sitting around the table, that there's so much potential and so much positive energy there, that no one is alone in the business. And I can't remember who I was talking to, but my 3-year is coming up, and I remember kind of just being like on that whole, like, I got to hurry, I got to do this, because I've always been successful. I've been very fortunate in everything I've ever done. I've always been successful. And my measure of success in Plexus was always wrapped around my rank and what I am. And I need to, I think probably the last 3 or 4 months where I've just realized that it truly is like my journey and my growth as a person, and what I can, give to others, and how I can grow as a person. And now I feel okay with, if it doesn't happen next month, it's going to happen. It's actually having faith in that, and not being ashamed to say that, oh, I've been doing Plexus for 3 years and I'm gold, or I'm silver, or whatever. And I think that the convention showed me a lot of possibility. So I want to read y'all something real quick, because I've been reading this book, I've read it 3 times, but it's by Oprah Winfrey or whatever, and it's just whatever, I know. And it's called, I know that sounds really bad. Gosh,
no big deal.
If you ever heard that, that would be terrible, right? So anyways, it's What I Know for Sure, and it's kind of like just her reflections. The way she writes is so just honest. And so there's this one chapter on possibility that I earmarked, if I can find it, that I read all the time. And so I read it just again the other day, and it reminded me of just kind of thinking about convention. But it said, the true measure of your courage is not whether you reach your goal. It's whether you decide to get back on your feet no matter how many times you failed. I know it's not easy, but I also know for sure that having the courage to stand up and pursue your wildest dreams will give you your life's richest reward and life's greatest adventure. And what's really wild, right now, no matter where you are a single choice away from a new beginning. And so that just kind of resonates with me, like every day when we decide what we're going to do with our business. It is a choice every single day. And so I'm huge on gratitude and affirmations. And so I just want to encourage all of us just to continue to decide every single day what we're going to do with our business. And I just feel that passion that we have so much to share with others. And, we see people every day that are just sick and tired, and we have a gift and we need to share that. So that's all I have.
So good. Kaylani, I just love you.
Very nice, Kaylani.
She muted herself already. Golly. Well, and that was kind of one of the other takeaways that I had written down that kind of piggybacks off of that, honestly, is because John Addison, when he spoke the last breakout session, I mean, all of his stuff, oh my gosh, it's just like so good. He had all these little one-liners. And one of the things that I wrote and starred and he said, to build a dream, you have to build a team. And I just kind of like kind of going with what you're saying, like where we attach our success so much to our rank with this, when really, building a team and kind of letting your dream evolve off of that is really the bigger picture with all of this, I feel like, because, he talked about like, you get one life, like you don't get a do-over. So this is kind of it. You have to decide, what do you want to do with your time here on earth? What do you want to be? Do you want your greatness to just be unleashed? Do you want to develop that? Do you want to inspire other people to unleash their greatness? And to me, that's kind of, when I first started Plexus, that was not even on my radar, but as our team has grown and, getting to know all of you guys and like getting to really know. And I think that's the other thing too, is you can't build a team if you don't know your team. You can't build and bring people together if you don't take the time to get to know the people that you're working side by side with. And that's really when all of the blessings start to come, I think, is when you find common ground, you find commonality, and you go after your dreams, if they're the same dreams or different dreams, together. That to me is the bigger picture. And that's when you're able to say, this is my journey, and I don't care how long it takes me. There's nothing else I would rather be doing, and nothing else that challenges me to become a better me and allows me to maybe be a catalyst for somebody else becoming a better them. That I don't get that in my 9-to-5 job. I don't get that in, my other jobs, my traditional jobs that I've had. So, that's one of the things, when you hear people say that people find a leader and then they find their vision, but like as a leader, we have to have that vision. We have to cast the vision for other people. So, that's where I think it takes kind of Plexus goes to a deeper level, is when you're willing to let it change you, and not completely change your personality, but change you for the better, where you get to see the strengths that you have and build on those and really come into the person that you're created to be. So I think that's a perfect, little chapter to read, because I think it's all about the choice every day to do something a little different and just make a choice to become a little bit better. And maybe help somebody else become a little bit better. So I do hope, I think too, just being there with us, I mean, I wish more of us would have been able to come. And I know that next year there's going to be even more, but it's so cool to just all connect and feel like just kind of right off the bat, everybody just hit it off. And that's because we have an amazing team. I think I'm kind of biased, but anyway, well, okay. Anybody else have anything else that you forgot to say that you want to say before, or any questions or anything?
I know it's getting late, but I had one more thing I wanted to say.
Okay.
I can't remember who said this quote. It was somebody famous, like Winston Churchill or somebody. Maybe it was, whatever. But Kaylani, I love you. I think they said, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right.
Yeah.
Was that it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And I always was saying, if I make emerald, if I become emerald, or if I eventually am a diamond, but then I had to kind of change that kind of to the positive, affirmation, the personal affirmation. And so I was like, okay, I'm not saying if I make it, I'm saying when I make it. So whether that's 2 years down the road for me or 4 years down the road for me, it doesn't really matter the timeline. It matters the fact that you're going to get there eventually, because you're going to work your butt off until you get there. And then you're going to keep it going.
Yeah. That's good. That one little change makes all the difference. If to win, that's like, that makes all the difference, you know.
Well, one of, I think it was one of the first things that Rita Davenport said, at least it's the first thing that I have written down in my notes. And BB shared it last night on the I Am Plexi call. But it costs you nothing to dream, but it will cost you everything if you don't. And like, bold, underline, exclamation point. Can I like frame that, put it big on my wall? Because it's true. And if you haven't watched the I Am Plexi call, or if you weren't on for it last night, I would encourage to go back and listen to it. It's a little long, but they had some great people on there last night. Good. And that was BB's, one of her takeaways. She said, I just stopped dreaming. And, you know, I have to start dreaming again. And I think that's so true. I think we can get into a place and we can kind of get stuck, and we're stuck about kind of where we are, kind of like what Kaylani was saying. And you've got to dream. You have to envision it, and you have to pursue it wholeheartedly. So I like that quote from Rita too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, you guys. Well, if nobody else has anything to share, I recorded this. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and stop it right now.